What's going on, everyone? You listen to Bull Central here. Hope you guys are all doing well. So, guys, I think we all know what today is. The NBA is officially back. It is the start of the regular season. Only 2 games today, and we won't see the Bulls kick off their season until tomorrow. But with the start of the NBA season comes the ESPN updated power rankings, which I'll provide in the link below. As I'm sure most of you know, these are updated on a weekly basis based on how teams perform as the season progresses. And for today's video, I wanted to review ESPN's Week 1 ranking for the Bulls, as well as just some general updates for the Bulls kicking off their season tomorrow in general. So ESPN ranked the Bulls 24th in the league, which isn't really all that surprising. I did think it was a bit low. I think the Bulls should be in that 21 or 22 range across the league. I do think some people are sleeping on the Bulls mainly due to the fact that, they didn't really have a flashy offseason in terms of free agency acquisitions. They drafted Patrick Williams at number 4 overall, who a lot of people didn't know much about and felt it was a bit of a stretch to take him at number 4. So overall, their offseason was a bit underwhelming, at least from, the media standpoint. I don't think as Bulls fans we would necessarily consider it to be underwhelming, but across the league they might. So I think the media is probably a little wary of the Bulls, given the fact that this roster, which isn't too much different from what it was last season, how much better can they actually perform under a new coach and system? There were a couple teams ahead of the Bulls that ESPN ranked, like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Orlando Magic, which I don't think, necessarily should be ahead of the Bulls at all. I don't think Orlando really did much of anything to improve their roster. They also had a season-ending injury to Jonathan Isaac. The Timberwolves, I know they did just get the number 1 pick, and I'm actually pretty high on Anthony Edwards in that selection. I'm high on that guy in general, but I don't expect him to have an amazing season off the bat. I do think he's going to need a little bit of time to develop as a whole. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns is an incredible player, but I just don't see him really taking this team to the next level or anywhere special, really, especially with the fact that the franchise doesn't really know how to build around him. Adding D'Angelo Russell was a good piece, but again, not a team I would consider to be better than the Bulls, given the level of talent the Bulls have on that roster, again, as long as they can stay healthy. Speaking of health, though, just a few updates on the Bulls side, at least at the time of this recording. Reports are saying that it does look like Garrett Temple will be ready and available for the game tomorrow. Denzel Valentine also has been practicing with the team, and he hopes to be available for tomorrow as well. Thaddeus Young is still recovering from his lower left leg infection. He was cleared to do some physical activity yesterday, but it doesn't sound like this includes full team 5-on-5 practices, so my guess is he likely will not be available for the opener based on that news, but I will obviously keep you guys posted. Now, we did get an update from Tomas Satoransky, who, as you know, missed the last 3 preseason games, and he wasn't with the team at all based on an excused absence, which I kind of use in air quotes since it was never really fully explained what the absence entailed. But we did get confirmation today that he was under quarantine due to exposure to Noah Vonleh, which is kind of what we had already anticipated. Which, doesn't entirely make a ton of sense to me given the fact that Noah Vonleh played on the court in the Bulls' first preseason game and then was tested positive just 2 days later. You would assume in the event that Vonleh played on the court with the entire team, that the entire team potentially was exposed just due to how contagious this virus is. But in any event, Satoransky did say he practiced today, but also that his availability for the game tomorrow would be limited at best. So it does sound like we either won't be seeing Sato in the game opener or it will be with limited minutes. But outside of Thaddeus Young and Satoransky, the rest of the roster is fully healthy and should be available for the game tomorrow, at least at this point in time. I will do a pregame report video shortly before the game tomorrow, so we'll have more updates then on who will be available and potentially who will also be in the starting lineup. In a press conference today, Billy Donovan did mention he has an idea of who his starters will be for the opener, but is still working through it and won't reveal what the starting lineup will be until tomorrow. My predictions for the starting lineup, barring any player injuries or setbacks, will be Kobe, Levine, Otto Porter, Lowry, and Wendell. No surprises there except for maybe Otto, as I know some people are expecting for Patrick Williams to start at the 3. I do think that is likely. We may see that end up happening, but I also think Donovan will prefer to start off the season by starting Otto, at least for the first initial games. I do think Patrick Williams, if he continues to perform the way that he did in the preseason, that he will eventually become the Bulls starter at small forward. But for now, likely, I think Donovan is going to go with the veteran who has a little bit more experience, just to make sure that Patrick Williams gets some time under his belt coming off the bench. Like I said, I will be doing a pregame report tomorrow, so be sure to tune in for that. Aside from that, let me know what you guys are most excited about for the game tomorrow in the comments. Maybe it's seeing a particular player, or if you're just excited to see Bulls basketball again. I know that I am. Let me know. As always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan and if you enjoy the content, and I will catch you guys in the next one.